if I told you that each and every one of us has strategies for getting what we want and need? You might be aware of some of these strategies you employ, but totally unaware of others. Not being aware of your strategies, and even worse, failing to realize that you're even in a strategy, is a recipe for suffering. It's also a recipe for losing touch with your authenticity. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why it is so important to become aware of your strategies, how to recognize your strategies, and what to do about your strategies once you recognize them. Having this awareness will bring you closer to a fulfilling and an authentic life. Most people think that they're acting according to their personal truth, their personality, their preferences, their values, and their beliefs. They think they're making conscious choices based off of their own free will. But the truth is, most of the time, they're not. Most of the time, they're acting out of subconscious patterns that they learn from their parents, their culture, their peers, their experiences, greater society. And many of these patterns are strategies that they develop to cope with the challenges and difficulties of life. There are strategies that they use to get love, to get approval, to get security, to get belonging, freedom, happiness, and whatever else they want and need. In the same vein, we could say that there are also strategies that they use to avoid pain, rejection, conflict, loneliness, boredom, and whatever else they don't want to experience. But these strategies are not always effective or beneficial. In fact, they can often be harmful and detrimental. They can prevent us from getting what we really want and need. They can cause us to lose touch with our authenticity and our integrity. They can make us feel unhappy and unfulfilled. They can also damage our relationship with others and with ourselves. As people, we are very strategic creatures. We do what we do for a reason. This woman wears a push-up bra because if men find her attractive, she stands more of a chance of being wanted by a man and as a result fended for. That woman gets a degree so that she can get the credibility she so badly craves. This man behaves in a very agreeable way because if he can create that feeling of social confluence, he will have a place to belong and people to belong with. That man gets a tattoo of teardrops on his face because he believes that if other men see it and know that it means that he's killed another man, they will feel dominated and be intimidated by him, and therefore he will be safer. This child dedicates all his time and energy to baseball because doing so is the only way that he's found to get his father to engage with him and feel that sense of closeness he so desperately wants in that relationship. That child rebels because she thinks doing so is going to grant her the freedom and autonomy she's been deprived of by her parents' strict rules and limits. In fact, our very personalities are often a strategy in and of themselves. To understand more about this, you can watch my video titled "Why Your Personality is Fake Distortion." There is nothing innately wrong with strategy. It's a part of life on Earth, but just like anything else, there are shadows that come with being strategic. To name a few of these shadows, we tend to be very subconscious about our strategies. It's rare that we sit down and have a real ponder about what strategy to consciously employ in order to get what we want and avoid what we don't want. Instead, it's like these strategies simply deterministically and subconsciously happen. We also adopt them from the people that we're around and the culture that we're a part of. And so, we are not in the position of conscious choice about those strategies. And so, they have more control over us than we have over them. Also, because we are so subconscious about our strategies, we might not actually be employing the best strategy or even an effective strategy for what we want and need. I'll give you an example. A woman discovers that what she wants and needs deep in her heart is to be loved by a man. But she might discover that her method for being loved by a man is to codependently assume all of his interests and preferences so that they suddenly become her own. She might realize that by doing this, the man does not really love her. He loves the woman who she acts like she is, a carbon copy of himself. And that this behavior keeps leading her into relationships with narcissistic men. Thus, the very behavior that she thought at a subconscious level would get her what she wants so desperately is the very behavior preventing what she wants. On top of this, we adopt these strategies so subconsciously and often so young that we mistake them for who we are. And as a result, we lose touch with our authenticity. To give you an example of what I mean, let's imagine a little girl who grows up with a feminist mother. She might become a tomboy not because she's authentically a tomboy, but because she authentically wants to be approved of by her mother. and needs to please her mother so as to stay emotionally safe and not be shamed. So she might annex anything girly about herself as a strategy for accomplishing that aim. She has sacrificed one aspect of her authenticity in favor of another. After all, making sure that we consciously act according to what we want is only one part of our authenticity. It is only part of what is genuine about us. It is all too easy for our strategies to make us a deeply inauthentic and even deeply dishonest, deeply strategic person. To learn more about this, you can watch my video that's titled, "Do you want to be honest or do you want to be strategic?" On top of this, people can feel when we're being strategic. The energy of a person doing something because doing that thing gets them something they want or need is always there, like an undercurrent. This makes people very nervous, which is understandable because in many situations, this disguised motive ends up hurting people. And because of this, strategy can be what destroys relationships. For example, a person may pay for the bill as a strategy to force loyalty, putting the other person in a kind of alliance debt to them. Or a person may be two-faced as a strategy to take advantage of two parties that are opposed so that they can enjoy some personal benefit as a result. To avoid all of the potential pain of strategies, you need to recognize your strategy and decide consciously what to do about it. To recognize your strategy, you start from the presupposition that everything you do is in fact a strategy. And you ask yourself the question, relative to anything that you do, if fill in the blank were a strategy, what would the thing you filled the blank in with be designed to get me or to achieve? For example, you might ask yourself, if wearing spiritual clothing were a strategy, what would wearing spiritual clothing be designed to give me or to achieve? Or for example, you might ask, if maintaining a relationship with this person that I dread were a strategy, what would maintaining a relationship with this person that I dread be designed to give me or to achieve? In the case of the first example, where wearing spiritual clothing was the strategy, the answer might be something like, to get other people to recognize my spiritual authority, or to advertise to other like-minded and spiritual people so that they will come up to me and I don't have to try to initiate talking to other people first. Or to feel good throughout the day rather than uncomfortable. Or to feel superior to the idiotic consumer-driven normies and make a statement about how wrong their lifestyle is. In the case of the second example, where maintaining a relationship with a person that they dread is the strategy, the answer might be something like, to avoid conflict so that I can feel a sense of security, or to be able to stay affiliated with them so I can experience the benefits of their status and contacts, or to be able to control them into not turning against me, or to avoid the potential that I might be thwarting my own expansion because my dread of them might just be about something I suppressed rather than something bad about them. And if it turns out to be the case, getting rid of them is pointless because I'm just going to end up getting a carbon copy of this person, but as another person in the future. When you are doing this exercise, try hard not to justify the thing you're doing and try hard not to simply pick a reason that makes your ego comfortable. Justification and picking a self-concept preserving answer is common when you feel ashamed of your strategy or the reason behind why you're employing a specific strategy. You will know that you are justifying something when your answer is a kind of, let's say, defense, where your goal is to prove that the reason that you are doing that thing is right or is good. Justification of what you are doing and picking a self-concept preserving answer will pull you in the exact opposite direction of self-awareness. Once you have your answer, you are now in the position of conscious choice. You can never again not know why you are doing what you are doing. And you have the choice to A, continue with that strategy, but this time consciously, or B, drop that strategy and pick a different, better, or more effective strategy to accomplish what it is that you want and need. To make that choice, you need to look at the benefits and consequences of either choice. And you need to ask yourself how authentic or inauthentic either choice is. Here's the thing though, no one is going to be able to tell you what's right versus wrong to choose. And there are likely to be both positive and negative consequences that will come as a result of choosing either. If you want to learn more about this, you can watch my video titled, "Why You Should Consciously Choose Consequences." Here's an example of this process. Roy realizes that he spends a good amount of time accumulating things and doing things to increase his perceived status. He wears designer clothing. He collects very valuable watches. He leases a luxurious car. He attends events where he is sure to meet people with a high status so he can make those contacts. All of these strategies he employs are designed to gain status because he feels that status gives him prestige. Prestige he so badly craves, especially since he felt so humiliated and disrespected and disregarded and unimportant growing up as a kid. Prestige feels like the antidote to his trauma. He feels ashamed that so much of what he does is to try to escape from these deep-seated feelings. He looks at the benefits and the consequences of continuing with this strategy. And he decides that he will forever be on a hamster wheel of trying to gain more and more prestige if he continues. But he genuinely loves the lifestyle that status affords him, so he makes a few conscious decisions. The first is to get off the hamster wheel of running away from feeling worthless and chasing prestige, and instead to go to therapy to face those unresolved traumas that drove him to chase prestige in the first place. The second is to keep wearing designer clothing for now because he loves the feeling of people looking at him with that look of admiration and wonder about who he is and what he does. The third is to start looking for something to dedicate his time and energy to that he can be really proud of, something that he feels makes it so he deserves respect and admiration, rather than just status itself, which when he looks at it, he feels is quite empty. He decided he doesn't want to have prestige just because of the car that he drives, or because of the clothes that he wears, or because of the people that he is associated with. He wants to feel like he has prestige because he's doing something that is worthy of respect and admiration. Because he makes this decision, he starts to pour his energy and his real estate credentials into converting abandoned malls into eco-communities. When you are deciding what to do about your strategy that you have now become aware of, spend time meditating and pondering and talking with people about the positives and negatives of continuing with that strategy, as well as what alternative choices and behaviors there might be. Because so much of our life on Earth is spent trying to get what we want and need as well as avoiding what we really don't want to experience, we spend the vast majority of our time in strategy. But that strategy will lead to suffering and blatant inauthenticity if it is not something that we are fully conscious of. So, what is your strategy? Have a good week.